just wanted to give you guys kind of an idea how air moves through buildings. So we have air moving from apartment to apartment. And these are just some of the common infiltration areas where we see air moving back and forth. Anywhere that air can go, moisture can go, smoke can go, pollutants can go, and pests. So that's why there's never just one cockroach, and it's never just you with cockroaches. We all have cockroaches, because they can all travel throughout the building. So when we fix and seal up these holes that we're stopping a lot of these pollutants from moving back and forth. So we have electrical and plumbing penetrations, we have demising walls, and we also have that wall-to-floor connection. And for any of you guys in construction, you know underneath that baseboard, usually the wall actually doesn't meet the floor. So we have a gap right there. And there is actually a mold-resistant caulk that you can put in there. So on those first floor areas where we're sealing that up, we can put that in there. Not that it's going to stop all the mold. We're going to talk about mold-resistant materials. It doesn't mean that you're never going to get mold, but just like in the situation you mentioned, you guys had a flood and you ripped everything out. If you have mold-resistant materials in there, it means that you have a little bit longer before mold starts to grow, because there's a much less organic material that's in there. So when we seal up holes from unit to unit, we're almost like we're stacking single-family homes on top of each other. So this helps control, and these are kind of preventative measures that you can take in the future in sealing up your building. All this sealing that I'm talking about also helps save money on heating costs. So again, if we're trying to find ways for owners and managers to justify doing something like this, it helps a lot with health and safety in the building, but it also helps cut costs because we're not losing as much of our conditioned air out of the building. People, we create a lot of moisture. We create a lot of our own mold problems. And I've seen this a lot where people, they complain they don't understand why there's mold in their bathroom, but they've covered up the grill in the bathroom. So we don't have any more ventilation, we don't have any more air movement in there, and that's why we have these systems to make sure that we get enough fresh air in there. If you guys went through any mold abatement process after Sandy, you probably noticed that they came in with big fans. There has to be an exhaust system. Do not tie into your existing exhaust system. You need to have a separate exhaust system during mold abatement, because now we're sucking mold spores throughout the rest of the buildings, their ventilation system. And before I just mentioned those connections that we share sometimes, so then you're just spraying it throughout the entire building, and you're not supposed to do that for any type of construction. You're supposed to have your own dedicated ventilation system for those spaces. And seal it up. If it's just one unit that you're fixing a mold problem, seal up the doorways, take that stuff off before you clean it, because like I said, it's very easy for spores to just travel throughout the rest of the building. Wet basements are a very unseen culprit of mold issues, especially in multifamily buildings where residents don't go in the basement, so they don't know where the problem's coming from, and they just all of a sudden start to see mold in their apartments. If we're seeing mold in the first and second floor, you can only imagine how bad the basement is. So we want to make sure that's something that we're checking on. And New York has pretty wet basements. We've all been down there, we've all been in the boiler room. They're pretty wet, hot, dark areas, which is perfect for mold. So we have to make sure that we're checking on those and keeping them dried out.